Hi, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about two very important feasts of the church. One is going to be All Saints' Day, and the other one is going to be the celebration of Saints Peter and Saint Paul. Now, we're also going to be talking about apostles. Now, you've already heard me talk about Jesus' disciples, so you're probably thinking, what's the difference between an apostle and a disciple? And what is it that they're going to do when they go out as apostles? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's catch up. Remember, Jesus has already left his friends because he's ascended to be with his Father in heaven. But he said, wait around, don't go anywhere, because I'm going to send you the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit's going to teach you the things that you need to know, just like your teacher, and to teach them to speak in different languages. He gave them the power of languages to speak, like I said, in Greek or in Latin or in Pirate. But mostly they were learning Greek and they were learning Aramaic. Okay, so the disciples are ready to go. So what is it that Jesus wants them to do? So let's hear Jesus' exact words to his disciples. Go out. Proclaim as you go that the kingdom of heaven is ready. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse those who are sick, and cast out demons. Pack no bag for your journey, just 2 robes and sandals. For you must work as you travel, and that will give you your food and your shelter.
Good evening, Wendy.
And whatever town you enter in, find out who is there and go to them and enter their house and greet them with love and teach them. Now, doesn't that sound like a really cool adventure? And maybe a little bit dangerous. Could you imagine if your parents said, hey, we're going on a trip, but don't pack anything, don't pack any clothes or anything, because we're going to get all this stuff when we go. But this is what Jesus told his disciples. Why did he say that? Because he wanted his disciples to trust in God, that God was going to provide for them. But what if the disciples went to a house and the people didn't want to hear that? Not everybody always wants to listen to what we say. So what did Jesus tell his disciples about those people? He said, but if the people of the house that you visit tell you to leave and go away, and they will not listen to you, then you know what you do? You take and you shake off the dust of the road from your feet, and you leave and you go to the next house. Because Jesus didn't want to force himself on anybody that didn't want to listen. Now, there's even people that follow this to this very day. In fact, Jehovah's Witnesses do it. You might have seen them. They come to your door and they knock on your door and they want to spread the message of Jesus. And some people will talk to them, and other people don't want them around and they chase them away. But what do? They do exactly what Jesus said. They just say, thank you very much, and then they leave. So remember, not everybody is going to listen and want to hear about the good things that Jesus does. But that shouldn't stop us from continuing always to say what he does. Remember I said I was going to talk about the difference between a disciple and an apostle. So a disciple is somebody who is learning. In school, you're a disciple because you're learning stuff. You're not ready to be a doctor or a lawyer or a fireman or policeman because you're learning. Once you finish learning, then you become an apostle. Now, apostle is a Greek word. It comes from apostello, meaning I send you out, because you've done all the teaching you need, you've done all the learning you need, and now it's time for you to go out into the world and be a great doctor or be a great policeman or be a great fireman, and that's who the apostles were. They had all the teaching they needed, and they were ready now to do the good work that Jesus wanted them to do. Let's think again about Star Wars. So the disciple is like being a Padawan, but when you are an apostle, you're more like a Jedi Master, because now you know everything you need to do your job.
Hello there.
So now I want to just talk about 3 apostles. Now, Jesus had a lot of apostles that went out and did this, but I just want to talk about 3 important ones that you should definitely know about. One is Peter. And remember, we already talked about Peter. He was Jesus' friend, and he betrayed him, but then he came back and he was forgiven. Peter was an important apostle in the city of Rome in Italy, and he spread the message through Rome. Then there was the apostle Andrew. Now, Andrew was a friend of Peter, and Jesus called him with Peter, and he was a disciple, and then he became an apostle. And where did he go? He went to Greece, and he went to Turkey. And he spread the word of Jesus Christ in that area. And the third person I want to talk about is Paul. So Paul is unique because unlike Peter and Andrew, Paul didn't necessarily know Jesus, but he came to know Jesus after he died. Jesus appeared to Paul and said, I want you also to do good work for me. And Paul, just like Andrew, he went through Greece and he went through Turkey, but he also went through Rome. He was the most traveled of all the apostles. And he also wrote many, many letters that are still in the Bible today. Now, Peter wrote some, but Paul wrote the most letters, and Paul started the most churches of any of the apostles. And so this is why it's so great to read the Bible, because you're going to read St. Paul's letters, and he tells about his adventures. He tells about how he was shipwrecked, about how he got into fights, about how he was stoned and even arrested, and how the angels came and broke him out of prison.
I'm free. Dang it.
And the Bible tells the stories of their adventures and of all the trouble that they got into and of all the good work that they did. So can you be an apostle like Peter or Andrew or Paul? Of course you can. And in fact, maybe your adventures are going to be even greater than theirs. God has given me the opportunity to have great adventures. He sent me to China, and I got to meet cool and interesting people there. And he put me in the military, and I got to meet cool and interesting people there. And then he sent me to Flint, Michigan, and then I'm here in Rochester, and I'm meeting even more cool people, just like you. So I've really had great adventures, and so I've done those things that an apostle did, and I know for sure that you can do those same things.